All right, so we have another example where we're talking about the hotel tax. Still talking about sales tax. So we should know that when we talk about sales tax, we're talking about adding the sales price and the tax dollar amount for us to find the total price that we need to pay. So the cost of a hotel in this example for 5 nights for a hotel room for 5 nights is $610. There is a 9.5% hotel tax. What is the total cost of the hotel room? Use any strategy. So remember, we have three strategies under the ratio reasoning. So the swing method, the cross multiplication method, and the fish method. You can use any of those to solve the answer for the answer. And then we also have the properties of operation method. So in this example, I'm going to go over the cross multiplication method, and then we'll also go over the properties of operation. Okay, so first thing I need to do is set up my ratios. And remember that the type of ratio that we're talking about is a part to whole ratio. On the left-hand side, I'll have the dollar amount, and on the right-hand side, I will have my percentages. So I want you to pause the video and see if you can set it up using whichever method you like. So we have three methods under method one, which is ratio reasoning, and then that method for properties of operation. Use any of those methods to see if you can figure out just the tax amount. That's the first step. So pause the video here, and then you can resume after you find the answer. All right. So hopefully you got the answer. What we're going to do is look at the story, and I see that the hotel room is $610. That's our sale price. We also see the tax is 9.5%, and we're looking for the total price. So we're going to call that T for our total price. Okay, so we have 610 that represents the whole dollar amount. And then we have 9.5%, which represents the part or the piece of the percentage that we need to pay. In terms of percentages, we know that 100 represents the whole. And then for the dollar amount for the part that we need to pay in taxes, we don't know what that is. We're going to use an X to represent the dollar amount of the taxes. All right, under the cross multiplying method, remember I'm just going to multiply diagonal. And so let's see what happens. So on one side, I have X times 100. Remember to always put your coefficient first. So the coefficient is your number, your constant. So I'm going to put 100 times X, and then that is going to be equal to 610 times 9.5. Now let's see if we can simplify that just a little bit. So we're going to take 610 times 9.5. So 610 times 9.5. That gives me 57.95. I did have 57.95, right? Uh-oh, hit the wrong thing. Okay, 610 times 9.5. Okay, and that gives me 5,000, 5,795. And then on the other side, we have 100x. Hopefully by now we can see that the 100 and the x together show us that we're multiplying. All right, so we're going to use division to get rid of the 100 times that x is being multiplied by. All right, 100 divided by 100 gives me 1, so I'm left with x on the left-hand side. And then on the right-hand side, you can use a calculator, which I'm not going to do that, but by now you know that you can use a calculator. Plug in 5,795 divided by 100, and that will give you the value of x. But I'm going to use what I know about base 10. I see that there's 2 zeros. I see that we're dividing. So I'm going to move my decimal place 2 places from where the decimal currently is, which is back here behind or to the right of the 5. So I'm going to move it 2 places. So 1, 2. So 5,795, move the decimal 1, 2. Now my decimal sits here in between the 7 and the 9. So that is 57.95. This is just your tax amount. Now what we need to do to find out how much we need to pay is add the sales price, which was 610, plus your tax amount, which is 57.95. And when you add those two together, then you come out with the total that you need to pay. So let's see what we got. So we have 610 plus 57.95 gives me 667.95 using the cross multiplication method. All right, so let's try the second example or the second method, which is going to be the properties of operation. So we're going to do the same thing. We're still talking about ratios, and it's a part to whole comparison. So we'll do this. We'll put our dollar amount on the left-hand side. We'll put our percent on the right-hand side. And what do we know from the story? We know that the cost of the hotel is 610, so that's going to be our sale price. We know the tax is 9.5%, and we need to find the total price. All right, so the whole amount is 610 in terms of dollar amount. In terms of the price, the part is 9.5 that we have to pay. The total or the whole is 100% to make a whole. And then we're solving for X here. Okay. So what we're going to do under properties of operation, we're going to simplify this, right? And just convert this into a decimal. So 9.5 divided by 100. So 9.5 divided by 100. Remember, we're making this number smaller. And I see that there's 2 zeros here. So again, you can plug in 9.5 divided by 100, and it's going to give you the same answer that I'm getting ready to show you. So I'm just going to move my decimal 2 places to the left. 1, 2. So my decimal now sits here, okay? So that looks like 0.095, and you'll usually have a 0 on the front, okay? So now we're solving for X. So X over 610 is equal to 0.095. Now, I see that X is being divided by 610. So I need to get X isolated. And so I see 610 and I see division. So I need to multiply both sides by 610. All right, so we cross that out. 610 divided by 610 leaves me with 1X. So X is here on the left-hand side. And then we just multiply. Same thing we did before. You're going to take 0.095 and we're multiplying that by 610. That gives me 57.95. That's the tax amount. Now add that with your sales tax. So 610 plus the sales tax, which is 57.95. is going to give us what we had before, which was 667.95 cents. All right, I'm just going to show you that they are the same. So notice that our amount is $667.95. And that is what we had when we used the other method as well.